Hey everyone, Michael with RC Crawling at RC_KRWLNG. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about two different sets of Injora tires, the Injora All-Terrain King Trekkers and the Injora XHX Pins. But first I thought talk a little bit about the truck that we're going to run. Then we'll go inside, talk about the tires some more, swap them out, and we'll hit some lines and show the difference between the two tires. So here's the truck we're running today. I've already got the pin tires on it. I shot the lines with the King Trekkers yesterday, but we'll talk a little bit about this setup. Started obviously as a stock axial SCX24 Bronco. Body-wise, trimmed off the fenders for clearance, changed the front bumper. It's pretty wide. It's also heavy, which I like. It's aluminum, helps get some front weight on there. Removed the spare wheel, added too much rear weight, took off the roof rack, also added too much weight, took out the interior. I don't care about the interiors. They're fine if you have room for them. If you like them, that's awesome. They look cool. And I also added some carbon fiber wrap that I ordered off of Amazon. Just automotive wrap. Went on pretty smooth. Underneath the body, and on my rat's nest of wires, we've got the Injora 50-turn purple motor with the helical transmission, the MB100 ESC, Injora 11 kilogram servo, Injora plus 4 axles. The front has brass steering links and brass diff cover. Also got weighted hex extensions on the front. It is normal hex extensions on the back. The shocks, Injora 40 millimeter oil-filled shocks. And the chassis is Muse, or Muse. I prefer Muse. LCG chassis kit with their links. Stock skid plate. Aluminum rear diff cover. I'm using Bandy's Kids Craft as limiting straps on the front. Just one band around the shock mounting points, top to bottom. And on the back one, I'm actually linking, I think 4 or 5 of these together. The back axle is not nearly as heavy, so it doesn't need as strong a pull as a limiting strap. That's enough about the truck. We'll go inside, talk about the tires, talk about the inserts I'm running, and then we'll hit some lines. Here's the two tires we're going to be comparing today. We've got the Injora King Trekkers 62 by 22 millimeters and the XHX Pins by Injora 60 millimeter by 20 millimeter. Slightly smaller tire. Looking closer at these King Trekkers, you can see that the lugs are not all the same height, which I think is part of the problem. The taller lugs just skip and bounce and click over obstacles, causing the truck to do weird hops. One thing I like about these tires is the aggressive sidewall. If you're in a situation where you can get these sidewalls up next to an obstacle, they do grab and help you climb up. And we'll see how these pin tires compare. One thing I'm annoyed by, DJ Crawler ordered these wheels from you and I was 2 screws short. Just do the right thing, send extra hardware. Don't be the cause of somebody's frustration new to the hobby. First upgrade and they can't put it together because they didn't get enough hardware and they don't have any extras. So help us out. don't cheap out on the screws. I am using Flub RC slime ball inserts. If you know about slime balls, they are custom printed, particular to the wheel and tire choice. I'm going to use them anyways with these new tires, even though they're slightly smaller. I think the oversized inserts will help with side hills, and I don't think it's going to hurt anything. They are directional, so if you're new to the hobby or don't otherwise know, the little fingers should point into the ground as it's rolling forward. And then as it comes up on the back side of the tire, it expands and helps push everything forward. I recommend these. I've liked them. I've only used this one pair. Compared to the Injora yellows, these are a bit softer. Might be better for your rig, might be worse. Give them a shot. Let me know what you think of them. Which tires do you like better?
I don't want to be on here.
Just say which. You got the ones I've been using and the new ones. Yeah, I agree. The pins look stupid, but they probably work better. Looks like side hill is 52 degrees with the Injora King Trekkers. And we'll try the XHX pins next to see if it makes any difference. Looks like with the XHX pins, the side hill is about 54, 55. So just slightly shorter tire brings the center of gravity down, improved side hill just a bit. And we'll go see how they perform in the real world. All right, this first line here is just an easy little incline. Where we get stuck is right here, where this rock meets the ground. My power wagon does this just fine. Let's see how the Bronco does. And this is the problem. Try to get in close here. You can see the tire just folds around that little lip, and it will not grab it. Front's trying to pull up those lugs again. Since they're uneven, just make this thing bounce a little bit. Now it will make it if you just hop it up there, but I'd prefer to try to avoid that when possible. So that's our first challenge line. We'll see how. Here we are back to the first challenge line with the pin tires. They're brand new. Ran them around in the dirt for just a minute, so they're not super sticky. They're not broken in like the other tires, but in the interest of fairness, figured we should get them dirty first. And this is where we had problems before. So far, no real big change. It hops right up there, just fine. And pardon my terrible driving. It's the fault of this thing. It's terrible to try to one-hand. Even with the thumb controller. It's not quite long enough. But enough of that complaint. Let's move on to the next line. This next line here, just this side hill up onto this rock. It's challenging for the Bronco. It can be done. But what I really want to show is the fold we get in the sidewall. You can see here the sidewall's not quite all the way folded under, but it is giving quite a bit away. We're probably going to lose it here. This back wheel is going to fall off. And again, we're running into the same problem. The tire is just folding around this ledge. Same up at the front, and it's causing it to hop. It hopped right off. Let's give it another shot. A little bit higher on the line this time. And it makes it just barely. Takes some real careful steering and throttle input, which is really hard to do with this FlySky GT3. I bought it because it's orange. I don't recommend it for one-handed driving. We're gonna try these pin tires on the side hill section and see if we notice any changes. On the setup table, we gained a few degrees of side hill. So far, this feels a little more stable. Yeah, it seemed to conquer it easily. Let's reset and try a little bit lower on this line and see if we lose it in the same way. Yep, lost it in the same way. So the line matters. Tires definitely seem to help the center of gravity and make that feel a lot more stable. Well, let's move on and see how these continue to stack up. Here's our third challenge line. Big chunk of quartz I just picked up for the course. It's really slick. It's hard to crawl. The Power Wagon does it. I don't know if it's the tires on the Power Wagon or the long wheelbase, but I'll show you what we're dealing with here. Once I get past the bumper and find the right line, got the front wheels on there, and again, just hopping. Doesn't want to grab. Even with some wheel speed. There we kind of cheated. Hit that other rock and bounced up it. We'll see how the pin tires do on this challenge. Alright, we're here on the giant chunk of quartz. It's really slick. That gap at the bottom is probably the issue, not the tires. But we'll see if we notice any changes with the pin tires. But yeah, I think it's that angle and that gap. Boy, they sure do want to try to grab. We'll cheat and use this rock like we did in the last video. I don't know. Might be better. It's hard to say. One less challenge spot for these tires. The problem is here, because of the wheelbase, we hit this ledge and this ledge at the same time, and it tends to just hop. With some careful steering input, it'll make it. Well, let's see how it does. Got the front tire and the back tire just hidden, and again, it's just hopping. There we go, finally grabbed, steering into it. That makes the rest of the climb just fine. This is where I'm hoping we see a major change. Still getting some good compression with the oversized slime balls. Let's try that again. It seems to be, oh, there we go. Still had to steer into it, but they sure bit a lot quicker. So I think these are showing some improvement over the King Trekkers. Seem to be slightly more capable. One last crawl here. There's a 45-degree climb. These tires make this just fine. We'll see if we notice any improvement with the Pin tires. Nice and easy crawl up. And back down the other side. Let's see if we notice any difference on this 45-degree climb. It was pretty composed with the King Trekkers. Actually, yeah, these are biting a lot harder. Less tire slippage going up. I don't know if that comes through on the video as easily. And that was nice and controlled on the descent. The other tires, King Trekkers, tend to slip on steep inclines before they refine their traction. But these grabbed real hard immediately. Just do a little bonus crawl, just for fun. Okay, that was a big improvement there. Previously, the King Trekkers tended to slide on the front, trying to climb up this, and that just went straight up. The others would tend to slip off whichever direction I was coming from. So noticing some small improvements, not drastic, but good. One last irritation I have that I almost forgot about has to do with a combination of my bumper choice and tire choice. When turned all the way and reversing, you hear it rubbing. It's worse that direction. Tire's already making contact. You can hear the lugs hitting the bumper. We'll see if the smaller tires fix that. That's not these tires' fault. That's my fault for the bumper choice. But we'll see if we can alleviate that too. And the bumper rub test in reverse seems to be solved. Not surprising, smaller tires. I know I could have fixed that by turning down the dual rate, but I didn't want to. This thing already doesn't turn as well. As my Power Wagon, mainly because the Power Wagon has the Mius, however you want to call it, isokinetic axles. I think this is going to deserve an upgrade to those axles. It'll help sort out the weight bias, bringing it more forward, and increase that steering angle. But it does okay. So there we have it, between the King Trekkers and the XHX pins. Every time I've used a 62mm tire, I've gone for a 60mm tire as a replacement. Go away, fly. Some slight, but I think noticeable improvements. With the pin tires. Helps with the center of gravity, of course, lowering everything down, but also hurts clearance at the same time. They felt steadier on side hills. They did seem to grip better. They're not very different size, so we ran into some of the same problems, grabbing those lips from the ground to the rock. But overall, I think they're an improvement, and especially if you're into competitions, I would recommend the pin tires. Those are the way to go. Those slight improvements are going to be the difference on a competition for sure. If you're just having fun, driving with friends, either tire's fine, whatever you like. If you want to go for a more scale look, I think the King Trekkers are better for that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I tried to keep everything the same, including the temperature outside. So I shot this a little later in the day because it's cooler today. But otherwise, tried to keep all of the variables the same. The one thing that I didn't control for are the slime balls. I didn't order the specific size that they recommend for the pin tires, but I don't think that made a difference. In fact, I think it probably helped. And you know what? I forgot to show the sidewalls on that side hill. So let's go back and look at that. So I put up the umbrella. The sun is pretty intense. The shadows, I thought, were obscuring the details of the sidewall. So let's take a look. Essentially no roll or give on the sidewalls. That could be due to just the smaller size of the tire. And it could be due to the oversized slime balls inserts. Probably a combination of both, but definitely an improvement there. That was my biggest issue with the King Trekkers. Even with the slime balls, they tended to roll. With the stock foams that came with the King Trekkers, on a side hill, you're basically riding the rim. So I would not recommend foams on the King Trekkers. In fact, I don't use foams on either of my rigs. Tell me why I'm wrong about using either 3D printed or silicone inserts in the comments below. I'd love to learn. So there we have it. Hope you learned something. Hope you found this entertaining. Drop a comment below, like, share, subscribe, all the usual stuff. You can find me on Instagram at RC_KRWLNG. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and hope to see you again soon.